All right, comrades, just give me a moment here. Here we go. All right, it's working, I think. Oh yeah, I need to move this over here and then move this over here. Yes, okay. We're in business. We are in business. Oh boy. Right. Switch Pro Controller screws up everything that's not Monster Hunter. Let's see. Can we go? Just making sure the resolution's right. It's this. It's not that. Okay. It'll be this. It's looking good at my end. So, anyway, we're just gonna go here. We're gonna... Yeah. Wait, hang on. Just making sure that... Okay. Okay, yes, that's the one. Anyway, I'm gonna get the word out about this. Let's see. Do this. And then go... Hang on. It's not here. There are a few different places I put the links these days, so... let's put it... here. All right, here we go. Okay, we go here. And here. And then I think this is the right place. Yes, and there. And I think there's one more spot. Yes, right here. Okay, we are in business. All right. So this should work. By the way, if the volume is not balanced to your liking, then please let me know, and I'll see what I can do to better balance my voice against the background audio. Wait a minute. Oh, okay. I was getting an alert briefly about the encoding being overloaded, but it's gone now. Should be fine. Probably just a dip in my internet. Anyway, here we are. Let's go history. Okay. We all know the waif there was making coin suffice to keep himself warm, but this lawyer lad says if he's stealing gas, he deserves a dose of poison, eh? He's been leading us up the garden path, that's what... Okay, really never said anything like that. Open our eyes again, we've reached a decision this time, we won't be swayed from it. Okay. Okay, I think I remember where we are now. Alright. The court acknowledges the position of the jury foreman, and will duly hear the jury's findings. What? No! You can't yet! Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will state your decisions now!
Guilty!
Guilty. Guilty.
Yeah, they're all gonna say guilty.
Guilty. Guilty.
That's right. I had cut it off here because, yeah, there was going to be another summation thingy. Oh! Hello, Fire. Glad you could make it. Did you miss much? No, you did not. You missed me getting the word out about the stream, and you missed me trying to figure out where we are in the case, like trying to get caught back up on it, because I've been away a while. I hereby declare the jury to be in one accord. Oh, happy day! How is this happening? My lord, the defense asserts its right to carry out a summation examination. Very well. The court upholds the defense's right.
Typical. My learned friend is unable to accept the obvious truth.
This trial will therefore enter its second summation examination immediately. Jurors, the court calls upon each of you to state the grounds upon which you find the defendant guilty of the crime of which he is charged. How am I doing? I'm doing pretty well, thank you. The stream's only going to go for 2 hours this time, but this is what people voted for, to take 2 hours from Perry and do this. Thank you, by the way. And how are you doing, Fire? Judicial findings. The jurors' contentions. I'm a man of logic, me, and having considered all the evidence, the defendant must logically be guilty.
I do agree that gas is far too expensive. I can quite understand why the man would want to avoid paying.
The stuff explodes and it can poison you. It's absolutely lethal, gas is.
Gas doesn't come for free. It costs a fortune to deliver it around the city and maintain the pipes.
Truth be told, the tea my wife serves up for me is a little sketchy at times.
If nothing else passed the victim's lips that night, there's no other explanation, is there?
That's good, you're okay here, you just have Minecraft open on the side. Yeah, fair enough. It's just a typical day of experience grinding on Minecraft, yeah. I do feel that perhaps personal opinion about gas and its supply has influenced decisions somewhat. But never mind. No, you really should mind. Oh, that's right, there is no tentacle thing on screen. I need to... Hang on, I'm gonna fix that. I am not the tentacle thing. The tentacle thing is fortunately not here right now. Let's see. I'm gonna turn that off. Chatbot, timers. Boom. Okay, it's fixed. Sorry about that. It's referring to Perry. Here, I'll type in the little... I'll bring up the explanation. There. The platypus. Everyone says that! Honestly, keep saying it. He hates it. Alright. Let's see.
The truth is, our counter-argument wasn't as unassailable as we'd hoped, and Mr. Shamspear was poisoned. There can be no doubt of that.
Then how are we supposed to turn this around?
I think we need to establish the method by which Mr. Shamspear was actually poisoned. Our only hope is to demonstrate that to the court incontrovertibly.
But
But that's surely almost impossible at this stage. If we don't manage it, though, Mr. Natsume will be found guilty.
No delays, Counsel. Proceed with the summation examination.
Alright, let's do this. What do we call this guy again? Bear? The defense's rebuttal. Okay. Considered all the evidence, the defendant must logically be guilty. Let's press that. All the evidence, you say?
That's right. There's no room for doubt. It's all pointing at that Japanese man with the big mustache.
Oh, Dog. Yes, that's right. Thank you, Fire. Dog the mouse. Yes. Says the Englishman with the bigger mustache.
Which means we need to show the man some new evidence to make him change his mind.
If only we had that kind of evidence.
Don't worry, this summation examination has barely started, really. Perhaps there'll be a shift in the situation that shows an existing piece of evidence in a new light.
And Dog 2 was the other mouse from the hospital which became deceased. He will be missed. Yes. Rest in peace, Dog 2. Let's hope so. To start with, though, I need to find some way out of this deadlock.
If gas is far too expensive, I can quite understand why the man would want to avoid paying.
Hold it!
This isn't the time or the place to be discussing the price of gas, madam.
But really, think of the injustice. Air is a gas and air is free. Why should ultimate gas cost money? It makes my blood boil. I can feel myself becoming more ruthless than ever.
This isn't the time or the place to be ruthless, either.
If I might interject here.
Yes, madam?
It seems my fellow juror takes issue with the price our company charges for gas. But it's precisely because of thieves like this man that the cost goes up! Oh, what a beastly man! That unkempt mustache, those hunched shoulders, poisoning tea, and stealing gas, utterly unforgivable!
No, Mr. Natsume isn't the one who's been stealing gas. I'll thank you not to go adding on more crimes.
Mr. Natsume hasn't been poisoning tea either. Well, anyway, I've quite made up my mind. It's made up as the price of gas.
Stuff explodes and it can poison you. It's absolutely lethal, gas is. Could we please talk about the poison rather than the gas, do you think, sir?
Well, if you like. I mean, to be honest, I'd take poison over gas every time.
You take poison?
What I mean is, poison can only poison you. It doesn't explode, does it?
Goodness me, what are you talking about? Set him straight, please, lawyer man.
Well, it's certainly true that poison isn't prone to exploding. But I think you'll find poison also can't light or heat up a room.
Ah! You're right! I hadn't considered that at all!
What kind of kangaroo court is this?
Young lawyer man. Yes? You have a good head on your shoulders. We could use someone like you as our company's legal representative.
Well, I wasn't expecting to pick up more business in the middle of a trial, that's for sure. Not with that attitude.
Anyway, the point is, I haven't had the best experience with gas companies in the past.
Gas doesn't come for free. It costs a fortune to deliver it around the city and maintain the pipes.
Does it now? Can we please refrain from all this talk of gas?
There's an all-out attack underway here, in case you hadn't noticed, against my company's gas. I'm supposed to sit here and take it, am I? I don't think so.
She's really buzzing now.
All I've heard about our wonderful fuel is explosions and poisonings. What about electricity? What about getting electrocuted? What about that? A little explosion here and there is nothing in comparison.
Any explosion could hardly be described as nothing, madam. Nevertheless, the theft of your gas is deplorable.
My point exactly, but the gas thieves aren't even the worst of our enemies. We have far more devious reprobates to contend with on a daily basis, you know.
More devious? Who, madam? Oh, we're onto something here.
Other gas companies, of course.
other gas companies? Not quite what I was expecting.
We generate gas and we deliver it to our customers fair and square.
Indeed, nobody is questioning that, madam. Altamont is an exemplary gas company.
But there are other unscrupulous gas companies here in London that don't even have any gas at all.
What? But if they don't have any gas, how do they go about selling it to people?
You wouldn't think it possible, would you? But they steal our gas, you see, and sell that.
They steal your gas? They steal your gas? How on earth is such a thing possible?
Gas companies like ours deliver gas to people's homes via a network of pipes. But these devious reprobates secretly disconnect our pipes and divert our gas into their own rotten pipes.
Nothing here is legal, Fire.
Then they make a contract with the households supplied by those pipes and take money for the precious gas that's rightfully ours without us even knowing. They're diverting gas into their own pipes illegally. What a brazen form of theft! When we visit customers' houses to collect the money from their meters, we always have to check whether or not one of these devious companies has been up to its tricks.
Oh? Do you have something to say, sir?
Excuse me.
Do you have something to say about that, juror number 3?
Oh, golly, you mean me? I'm terribly sorry. I was just thinking to myself.
I really did catch him off guard there. Thinking about what the lady next to you was saying, correct?
Well, yes. I just got a little riled about it recently, you see.
Go on.
An Altamont gas worker visited my house the other day to investigate the pipe work. We need to ask for your cooperation while we carry out a secret check of your property, sir, the fellow said. So I let him in, and do you know what he did?
I'm, afraid I have no idea. Please tell us.
He proceeded to take one of my lights off the wall. Then he grabbed the exposed mouth of the pipe and started blowing into it. What do you think you're doing, young man? You're giving away company secrets there. Oh, please, everybody knows. But it was very nearly the death of me, I can tell you.
What do you mean?
I'll explain if you don't mind. As I said before, these unscrupulous other gas companies connect their customers to our pipe network.
Yes, but how does blowing into the pipes come into it?
Obviously there's gas in the pipes, and it's at a fairly low pressure. By blowing air through the pipe, you can make the pressure drop temporarily. And if you do that, any lights connected to the same pipe will flicker for a moment.
Ooh.
Ah, I see. In other words, if upon blowing into the pipe, the lights of an adjacent property that has no contract with your company flicker, you can know that these devious scoundrels have been meddling with the pipes.
Exactly, my lord. That's it in a nutshell. It's the reason why we have teams of workers going around neighborhoods to investigate which lights flicker.
The trouble is, the particular worker who came to my house didn't know the strength of his own breath.
Oh, hey, heck.
He blew down the pipe with all his might. You can guess what happened, can't you?
Well, if he blew hard, then... Wait, you mean...
That's right, the lights didn't just flicker, they went out! Along with the stove! Gas started pouring into the house!
What a disaster.
The gas supply must have been interrupted briefly because the man blew too hard, so the flames went out.
I'm afraid I yelled at the fellow. Are you trying to kill us all? I said.
So by disconnecting a lamp and blowing into the exposed gas pipe, it's possible to extinguish lamps and stoves connected to the same network of pipes. And then when the gas starts flowing again, it just silently seeps into the room.
Mr. Naruhodo, I think perhaps...
Yes, this is almost certainly the clue that we've been hoping for.
Juror number 3, the defense requests that you amend your statement to include that information. Oh, well, if you like, I don't mind. Well, I do! That's our company's secret method of identifying the rogues that try to diddle us! Like I said, madam, it's widely known already.
Very well. Juror number 3, you will amend your statement accordingly.
Yes, my lord. Although I'm not really sure what the point of all this is. Blow too hard into a gas pipe and you extinguish everything in the house, and then you're in real trouble. Okay. Okay.
Hold it!
You mean it's poisoned? That's right. Right, what voice did I give this guy?
It's happened a tiny few times now. This is most troubling indeed. It's always days like this one when I don't get any wages. I get in at tea time, see? And I see her doing it. My wife. She gets that devilish look on her face and she slips some white powder into my cup.
And you drink it anyway?
I was brought up proper, I was. Someone gives you a cup or you drink it.
And what happened to you? What did it taste like?
It was god-awful, believe you me. Salty as hell.
Oh. She was putting salt into it, huh? Then I think perhaps what your wife put in your tea was salt.
No! So, she doesn't even care enough to poison me properly, eh? Unbelievable. Let's move on, please.
If nothing else passed the victim's lips that night, there's no other explanation. If I pit you against number 3, I wonder what'll happen. It could have been gas.
Objection!
There we go! Those two statements clearly contradict each other.
Good gracious. To whose statements do you refer, counsel?
Juror number 6, did you hear what juror number 3 just said? What? Yes, of course. I heard him mumbling about something or other. There is another explanation here, I believe. Something besides Mr. Natsume's tea did, in a manner of speaking, pass the victim's lips on the night in question.
What? What explanation?
I wonder, did the police check the mouth of the gas pipe feeding the wall light at the scene? To see if there were any traces of poison there. You're glad they allow swords in court. Yep. Well, they, Ryunosuke did insist that he needs to keep the sword with him at all times. Because he's a Japanese man, and that's a Japanese man thing.
I was curious to see what your floundering would result in this time, but the mouth of a gas pipe? Scotland Yard have enough to do without exploring such irrelevance.
Hold it! What a piece of work is a man! What are you trying to say, Mr. Shamspear? What speakest thou? Prithee, is it not strange and strange? That is what I say to thee, sir! You must be allowed to ignite several fires within the courtroom. At this rate, probably yes. I thought I'd been quite clear, but let me put it another way. The strychnine could have been on the mouth of the gas pipe that feeds the wall lamp in your room. And that is how the poison came to enter your body.
Good lord! Are they tasty then, gas pipes? Is that what he's saying?
Or is the gentleman suggesting that the poor man was so desperately hungry he tried to fill his belly with gas? Perhaps no actress would perform a kiss scene with him, For shame, madam, speaking thy fancy. Oh my god! I assure you I'm not such a buffoon that I have to kiss pipes!
Objection!
There's the chalice.
This is no summation examination, this is a farce! The prosecution will not stand for any more of my learned Nipponese friend's conjecture.
To begin with, the lamp in the victim's room is high on the wall. In order to have placed his lips to the pipe that feeds it, he would have to be a contortionist. These are empty assertions, and he just did it again. There's your fires, Fire. Looks like Van Zeeks has you covered. There is no possible proof the man did as you say.
Objection.
It's true, I have no proof that Mr. Shamspeare put his lips to the pipe. However, I can say with some certainty that on multiple occasions, Mr. Shamspeare has been doing something in front of that lamp on his wall. And I have evidence to prove it.
Alright, you've got our attention, lad. Sorry. Alright, you've got our attention, lad. I'd like to see how you can be so sure of yourself.
So would I. Let's see this evidence then. Now that I've got the jury's ear, I need to make this opportunity count. This is the proof that time and time again, Mr. Shamspeare stood in front of his gas lamp. Oh, right. There's the gas lamp, and he stood in front of it. He was... The picture... Right! Yes, it's this. I remember this. Multiple prints on either side of a hanging picture, but above the hanging picture, there be a gas lamp.
Take that!
What the... You wonder if anyone counted how many times he does that? Oh, I'm sure someone has. What the... These are... Wait, what are they called? Yes, skin prints that were found at the scene.
Skin prints, Counsel? I've never heard of such things. The Justice Ministry is currently assessing whether or not to permit fingerprints as evidence in court, however.
My lord, this is an exciting new forensic technique developed by the great detective Mr. Herlock Sholmes. It reveals all the places that Mr. Shamspeare touched in his room.
I've never seen anything like it! I mean, that's black magic, isn't it?
Well, if anyone could invent something like this, it's that great Sholmes fellow, that's for sure. He was consuming the fire. Maybe. I agree. This month's edition of Engineering Thumbs was quite fascinating. We found skin prints in many places that you would expect. On the table, on the costumes. However, Mr. Shamspeare also appears to have been touching some very unexpected places in his room. For example, here.
Around the hanging picture there?
That was a previous case, Fire. They denied other evidence because it was using something made by Sholmes Man. But in this case, it turns out that Scotland Yard is actually currently processing whether this is acceptable evidence. So, we lucked out this time. Sholmes' invention happened to coincide with something that is actually already being investigated as a forensic technique. So, they believe us. This time.
Around the hanging picture there, indeed, multiple handprints appear to be visible.
Well, I wonder, could he have been appreciating the artwork, perhaps? At first, my colleagues and I thought the same. However, imagine standing with your hands where those prints are, and you would find yourself directly in front of... before handprints end up belonging to Catman. Oh boy. Was he trying to siphon the gas? In front of... Ah! I don't believe it! Right there. The gas lamp! The gas lamp. Though the reason why isn't immediately obvious, it's clear that Mr. Shamspeare has regularly been standing with his hands to the wall in front of that lamp.
Right, what have you been up to, you nut?
I'd ask the court to recall juror number 4's earlier statement. Me? What did I say? You said that blowing into a gas pipe would make the lights in the entire building flicker. And now, if you'll recall juror number 3's statement... What? Me now? when the gas worker who visited his home blew with too much force into the pipe. It caused all the lights and the gas stove to go out, and gas to start leaking into the rooms. Obviously, that incident was an accident. However, the simple fact is, if Mr. Shamspear were to have blown hard into the gas pipe here in his room, he could have extinguished every other light and gas stove in the building at will. Light and gas stove in the building.
Crikey!
Are you suggesting that the man purposefully caused the gas to...
And he's going to fill it up and he's going to yeet it. Whilst I acknowledge that the prosecution is required to remain silent during a summation examination,
Yes, so shut up.
I must toast my learned friend's utter disregard for the letter of the law.
What is the meaning of this, Lord Francis?
This curious photograph, or whatever it is, presented by the defense, the so-called, oh, here we go, skin prints. Clearly, that cannot be accepted as any form of usable evidence in this case.
But it's an exciting new forensic technique developed by a great detective.
It's nothing. A mere toy developed by an amateur sleuth with too much time on his hands.
Ugh! Certainly, even research of this nature by the esteemed Mr. Solmes cannot be recognized by the court as formal evidence.
But... Please, my lord, if I may. Miss Susato? It was not the defense's intention to submit the skin prints as formal evidence. We merely wish to present the results of the great detective's investigation of the scene, as a tool by which to explain a possibility to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury.
Oh, here we go.
And if the trial were to come to an end now, we should never learn the truth behind these mysterious handprints that everyone has now seen. I don't believe we can allow that to happen, and I'm sure the jurors would agree.
You're right. Whether those strange handprints are a significant clue or not, it's down to us to decide.
Juror number 3! Oh yes, I do declare the great detective's investigation results sound absolutely fascinating, and I want to hear what that shady actor fellow has to say about those shady handprints.
Yep, that's 2 down. Susato wins. Yep.
What's the... Sorry, what's the matter with you two? That was foolhardy.
Well, I did say it, didn't I? And I don't like to break a promise.
No, wait! You heard his lordship. It's not fair to take him evidence.
Sucks to suck, Brucey.
Oh, well done, Mr. Naruhodo. If just one more juror changes his or her mind, Mr. Natsume's trial will have to continue.
Thank you, Mr. Sato, but I couldn't have done it without you.
Oh no, it was you who identified the clue after all. This is very much your success.
Why, Mr. Shamspear, you seem to be losing your composure.
Just one more juror, Mr. Naruhodo. You can do it!
Very well. Continue, counsel.
Alright, let's see what we can do. Considered all the evidence, the defendant must logically be guilty. Very interested in the results of the... Okay. We're the ones who decide if... Okay, so I can't press those. I can't pit them either. Okay. Let's try pressing this again.
Hold it!
The court of law got out-gamered. Yep. All the evidence, you say?
That's right, and there's no room for doubt. It's all pointing at that Japanese man with the big mustache.
Says the Englishman with the bigger mustache. Yeah, we've seen this already. But it's not letting me skip. Something changed. But the defense just demonstrated another possible explanation for the events on the night in question. What do you make of that?
What? His so-called skin prints?
It's an exciting new forensic investigation technique, developed by the great detective himself.
The numerous handprints on the wall are clearly out of the ordinary. And if Mr. Shamspear had indeed put his mouth to the gas pipe on the night in question, it can't be denied that there's a possibility that's where the poison was.
Well, yes. I won't deny that's playing on my mind. But as the prosecution rightly says, we should pay no heed to unacceptable forms of evidence. And besides,
Yes?
even if the fellow has been up to some mischief with the gas pipe dozens of times before, doesn't mean he got up to the same shenanigans on the night in question, does it?
Oh,
If you can't make your case better than that, I'm afraid I can't change my stance. Can't change my stance.
Can't change your stance.
you do make a very valid point, sir.
What? That's true. Perhaps I was a little hasty. No! Wait!
Look, you've got your chance here, haven't you? So it's time to prove your theory. If you and your Japanese cohorts can, that is.
Just leave our nationality out of this, please.
Mr. Naruhodo, if we can't substantiate our position, I'm afraid the jurors that changed their minds before may very well change them back.
What can I do? Is there any more proof I can give here? Can I show that Mr. Shamspear really did blow down the gas pipe on the night in question? I have supporting testimony. Here we go. Take a blood sample before they change their minds. No, in truth, I don't have evidence to support my theory. However, there is witness testimony that substantiates it.
What's that? Testimony?
This is incredible! Whose testimony? Yes, it's all connected. Everything is linked. Moon Man. A person whose testimony revealed details about the gas in the Garadeb residence that night. Namely...
Take that!
Well, Mr. Foreman, does that convince you? Whew, I don't think he was listening.
Rest assured, counsel, I shan't let such nonsensical answers go without penalty.
What? I thought I'd got away with it.
A witness who spoke about the gas on the night in question.
Yes, there was someone. That's what I thought too. But I obviously chose the wrong person. Okay, it wasn't Garadeb. I thought it was Garadeb. Can I go court record? Natsume, okay. Okay. Selden. Okay, people. Passed away a month ago as a result of gas poisoning. Wait a minute. A month ago? Yeah, but this is a month ago. It's not the night of. Was it that other guy who had to spy on Actor Man? This guy? Meterman? Maybe. Man. I feel like I kind of screwed myself here taking so long in there. Guess we're just gonna have to guess here. I'm gonna press this again. Oh, look through the window at night. Oh, yeah, it may well have been him. Let's try that. Okay. Skip through all this again. We'll save here. There. Back. Back. Here we go.
You think it's Adron Meterman because is maybe Catman because you think he was getting exposed to gas? Maybe Catman because he was getting exposed to a gas leak. But yeah, that's a good point. Let's try your first idea first.
Take that!
It was not. No. It wasn't Meterman. I have supporting testimony. Save here. Yeah, I feel bad for doing this, but like, this was months ago at this point. Well, at least a month. Yes, this game does exist, Alana. And it is not just a meme thing. Trying to find a person whose testimony revealed details about the gas in the Garadeb residence that night. Do we think it was Natsume? Let's try it.
Take that!
It was Natsume, because he was hallucinating. Obviously, I'm talking about the defendant, Mr. Sosuke Natsume himself. Wait, hang on. Okay. Okay. The defendant! I wasn't sure about Catman because I don't think he realized there may have been a gas leak. At the very beginning of the proceedings here in court yesterday, Mr. Natsume said the following. Okay, this is what I forgot. Here we go. Here we go. My lodgings! There's been a whole series of strange happenings in my lodgings! Even on that fateful night it happened, when I returned from Mr. Shamspeare's room. I lit my gas stove and climbed into bed, but before long, the stove went out, and somebody tried to kill me! Oh... The haunting. Yes. On the night in question, the gas in the defendant's room went out. So I asked the court, was that a mere coincidence, or not? Good golly! So that Shamspeare fellow blew air into the gas pipe to make the man's stove go out on purpose!
Now hold your horses there. What would he do that for?
Oh, was he trying to kill Natsume and then it backfired? Oh, here we go. Now it's getting really interesting. Mr. Foreman!
What is it, man? What is it, man?
We cannot allow judgment to be passed whilst this doubt remains. It's true that I don't have conclusive evidence yet. However, good thing he didn't kill Catman or the cat. I know, right? Poor cat. You must surely agree there is more to this case than meets the eye.
Ah!
Fair enough. Like I said at the outset, I'm a man of logic, first and foremost. That's 4 jurors leaning towards not guilty, my lord. We've overturned the decision. Therefore, the defense calls for the trial to continue.
As the defense has rightfully indicated, the summation examination has concluded with a majority of jurors altering their decisions. 2 jury members now call guilty, 4 now call not guilty. Therefore, the jury's opinion is conflicted, and in accordance with the law of this land, I hereby order the continuation of this trial.
Vampire Man is definitely not happy with that.
Mr. William Shamspeare!
My lord, how can thy humble Shamspeare serve thee?
What say you in response to the various revelations made during the summation examination?
So God mend me, I do solemnly swear. I recall not to be the lamp or the pipe.
But your handprints have made a tiny mess all over the wall there. How do you explain that, huh?
I am done with this. The dignity of this great courtroom has been sullied enough already. Juror number 5.
Who, me?
As I went to some pains to point out already, a print from the self-professed detective's toy has no place in a British court of law.
Ah!
As such, whether or not this man did indeed stand before the gas lamp with his hands against the wall remains at this time unestablished conjecture. You would all do well to remember that.
Objection.
Ah!
But the prosecution must concede that it would be extremely simple to verify. Just order the mouth of the gas pipe feeding that lamp in Mr. Shamspeare's room to be examined. If there are traces of poison there...
Objection.
What appears to be extremely simple is my what appears to be extremely simple is my Nipponese friend's mind.
Yeah, that would probably be the sane thing to do right now, Fire.
You will recall that in order to check for the presence of poison in the tea, some remnants of tea were required.
Yes.
Therefore, it shouldn't be beyond your wit to imagine that even if poison were to have been spread on the pipe, it would have completely evaporated by now, making any analysis impossible.
Ah! I didn't think of that.
In any case, counsel, I fail to see what could possibly have motivated the man to do as you described. Why on earth would this fellow have wanted to blow air to the gas pipe work where he lived?
To kill Natsume.
There's only one possibility that I can think of. And that is... to use the leaking gas to commit murder!
Here we go.
Order! Order! Counsel! Precisely whose life do you propose this man was plotting to end?
The answer couldn't be simpler. Now we've unraveled the mystery this far. Mr. Shamspeare wanted to end the life of... Hang on, I need to check something. There is a slight possibility that it's Garadeb, but I think it's this guy because Shamspeare is so bent on getting this guy out of the picture. So my first guess is
Take that.
Soseki Natsume. If a gas lamp were to go out, it would be noticed immediately, of course. But a gas stove, on the other hand, could be silently extinguished by the killer without anyone noticing. So he wouldn't have had a chance against Garadeb, but against Natsume. It was obviously the maid lady from the other case, who is now in jail. Yes.
I live around those parts myself, so I know what it's like. I can tell you, trying to sleep without the stove lit is pretty much suicide. You'd freeze to death in no time.
Mr. Garadeb, the landlord, has a large fireplace in his part of the residence on the top floor. In other words, it wasn't the landlord, but a fellow lodger whose life Mr. Shamspeare was trying to end. Oh yes, that's right.
Outrageous!
I'm talking, of course, about the defendant. Mr. Natsume isn't the villain in this case. He's the victim this man was trying to murder!
Good gracious!
Objection.
There it is. The accused is actually the aggrieved? Interesting. However, the fundamental facts of the case remain unchanged. Namely, that the accused is the aggressor here.
What? How can you still claim that?
Let us indulge your fancies for a moment and assume that there was indeed poison on the mouth of the gas pipe. The question that then arises is who put it there?
Who did put it there?
The only logical conclusion is that the person responsible was aware of this man's trickery with the gas supply and his intent to kill.
Yes, that would indeed seem logical. If the assailant were unaware, how would he or she have known to lace the end of the gas pipe with poison?
So now we must ask, how could anyone have known of Mr. Shamspeare's murderous designs?
You mean to suggest...
Naturally, the sole possible answer to that question couldn't be more obvious. Only the man whose life was being threatened could possibly have known.
What?
In other words, the person who put the poison on the gas pipe in what was a clear retaliatory attack can only have been the accused, Mr. Soseki Natsume. Whatever Mr. William Shamspeare may or may not have contrived to do, he was nevertheless the victim of a potentially lethal poison attack. And the only person who could possibly have perpetrated that attack is the accused, Mr. Natsume. The defense counsel's theorizing has failed to avert suspicion from the accused. Far from it. In fact, now that a clear motive for the poisoning has been successfully established, yeah, that's pretty much Ace Attorney in a nutshell, Alana. That suspicion is greater than ever. Would you not agree, my Nipponese friend?
This guy is really racist against the Japanese for some reason. And right now we are trying to defend a Japanese guy for the attempted murder by poisoning of William Shamspeare, the guy who's dressed up like some kind of royal jester or something. But now it's turning out that Shamspeare was apparently trying to kill Natsume, not the other way around. Natsume being the defendant. Yeah, a lot of people here are racist against the Japanese, but like especially Van Zeek's over here. And now everyone's talking. Yes, exactly, Fire. How did he manage to turn that around on me so rapidly? Mr. Naruhodo, you must respond! Yes, that was it. That was it. Van Zeek was level 100 racist, and everyone else here was only like level 30 racist. Or something like that. Otherwise, the members of the jury may very well change their leanings against us again. And this may be our last chance to gain the advantage. What advantage? Well, it would seem that somebody put poison on the gas pipe in Mr. Shamspeare's room. So we must name that person now and absolve Mr. Natsume of guilt. You mean, name the true culprit? I know it might sound impossible, but if we fail to do that, I have no doubt that Mr. Natsume's fate will be sealed once and for all. As it happens, one possible culprit does come to mind. The evidence, the poison, it's all pointing to a particular person now. Court record. Okay. Receipt for some books. Mr. Natsume, no T-ring on the inside of Mr. Natsume's cup. Cheap bar of soap. 2 centimeter diameter circular depression. Ripped piece of envelope. Okay. Crime scene photograph. Victim can be seen unconscious at the table having been poisoned. A report is issued by Scotland Yard's medical officer. Blah 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 blah. 30 minutes. High likelihood. Yes. Okay. Poisoning incident occurred around 1:30 a.m. on 21st of February. Okay. Attached coin box, tiny hole in its base. Traces of handprint from the wall. Selden, criminals. Strange ways prison announced the death of convicted murderer and burglar. Selden, okay. Already dead before, yes, okay. Mr. Shamspeare's room, it shows the landlord, Mr. Garadeb, together with a young man. Oh no.
Oh no. Oh no. The prosecution calls for the jury to consider their leanings again. I trust you'll make the correct choice this time, Mr. Foreman. I think the landlord did it, Ilana. This guy, John Garadeb, a retired army man who's the landlord of the lodgings rented by Mr. Natsume and Mr. Shamspear. In the last case, chronologically speaking, that we took on, this guy's wife was the murderer by accident, but still. Apparently, they had a fight. She threw a knife at him. It missed. It went out their window, rebounded off of their half-open window, fell down, and stuck her in the back. She just happened to be walking by and bent down to pick something up. So that was the last case. Now it's looking like this guy is also a murderer. Or a would-be murderer, I suppose. Fortunately, she's not dead, and neither is Natsume or Shamspear, although the fortune of Shamspear's survival is somewhat in question at the moment. Yes, she got the 500 XP trick shot. That's right, Fire.
What? Oh, don't you worry, we know exactly what...
Here we go. There is one other person who I believe could have been involved in all of this. The true culprit of this crime.
The true culprit?
A term found only in second-rate novels featuring third-rate great detectives, my Nipponese friend. But why not? This farce has gone on for so long already, I see no reason to cut it short before its disappointing climax. Thank you. Tell us, my learned Nipponese friend, what is your latest theory? Who is the so-called true culprit of this crime?
Take that!
You claim this person is the true... Okay, it's not Garadeb. Is the true culprit? Highly suspicious, I would say, yes. Perhaps, my learned Nipponese friend, you should turn those wide eyes of suspicion on yourself. What? For it seems to me that your reckless reasoning makes you, far more than anyone else you could name, a very dangerous man indeed. Gah! Okay, so it wasn't Garadeb.
Mr. Naruhodo, please, you must concentrate. I was trying to. Then you must concentrate harder.
Ugh, harsh. Who is the so-called true culprit of this crime? Let's see. Was it this guy? Altamont? Meterman Popeye? Shamspear himself accidentally consuming gas. Yeah, but I don't think the strychnine is in the gas. Well, my second guess is this guy.
Take that!
It's not him either. Okay,
Let's see, we have Mr. Natsume purchasing the... Okay, Mr. Natsume has his lodgings. Okay, this is not relevant. Bee Lady? Can you guess Vampire Guy? Ha 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 ha! I don't think it's Vampire Guy. Let's see. Victim can be seen unconscious at the table, having been poisoned. Obviously mentions the poison as well as other details gleaned during the police investigation. Yeah, but Bee Lady only knows that that Shamspear had been stealing gas, not that he had been messing with blowing into the pipes. She seemed quite bewildered that it was common knowledge that blowing into the pipes was a well-known technique. So it's not. I don't think it's Bee Lady. Did Shamspear do it to himself? Because he's very obviously trying to frame Natsume.
Take that!
It's not Shamspear. Okay, if it's not Shamspear, it's not Meterman. It's probably not Bee Lady. If I say it's Natsume, is something funny gonna happen?
Take that!
Nothing funny happened. Let's see, it's not Susato. We tried Garadeb, right?
Take that!
Yes, we tried Garadeb. It's not Natsume, not Shamspear. The Discord link isn't working for you? That's weird. Have I tried Maid Lady? Maid Lady is not here on the list, unfortunately. And you were in hospital. Wouldn't be you. Was it Bee Lady?
Take that!
It was not Bee Lady. It what? Hang on. Let me try something here. The link still seems to work for me. Was it me? Maybe it was me. Hang on, I gotta check something. Okay. This. If I go here...
here. This. Okay. Okay. I can't look at that right now because I'm streaming. Yeah, maybe Discord just hates you right now. I don't know what's going on. And you were dead. Let's see. You were in hospital. And you weren't there until much later.
Take that!
Is it possible dead tenant put something on the lamp before... Discord hates you because you were dead. Nice. Is it possible dead tenant put something on the lamp before becoming dead? I just tried that and it didn't work. Dead tenant even died doing the same thing because someone else poisoned him the same way.
Take that!
Wait, what? Okay, that doesn't make any sense. That does not make one lick of sense. I am so confused. Apparently the correct answer was olive green. Wasn't she in hospital at the time? She was in hospital at the time. This does not make sense at all. Yeah. Apparently this girl was the right answer, but she was in a she was stuck in a hospital bed. I don't know, Fire. I don't know. But I think we're about to get an explanation, or something resembling one. The name of the person responsible for the poison that afflicted Mr. Shamspear is, I believe, Miss Olive Green.
Miss Olive Green. Miss Olive Green. I do feel as though I've heard that name in the recent past, Council, but I don't remember where.
Miss Olive Green, the woman from 6 days ago. The victim in the recent case of stabbing on Briar Road. An incident for which Mr. Natsume was arrested, I hasten to add.
Oh, of course, yes, Miss Green. She was left comatose for some 3 days, I believe, but I hear she regained consciousness 2 days ago.
And I hardly need remind the court that Mr. Shamspear's poisoning took place 3 days ago. Given that the woman was lying comatose in a hospital bed at the time, she appears to have a rather fine alibi. That's what I was thinking, Benzeeks. True, on the night the incident occurred, Miss Green... Oh! Thank you for the follow! Nibble Streams. Yes! True, on the night that the incident occurred, Miss Green was in hospital unconscious. So on the face of it, it would seem that she couldn't possibly be responsible, but still... My colleagues and I visited Miss Green in hospital yesterday, and we found her to be in possession of a bottle of poison. I thought she was about to drink it.
Good gracious, she had poison!
And there is another fact that links Miss Green to this case as well. The defense requests that she be brought to the witness stand in order to explain the details to the court.
Tell me, Mr. Shamspear.
Yeah, it's also not super good considering it's often not enough to prove your client is innocent, you also have to prove who is guilty. Yep, that's right, Fire.
Still need to finish the original trilogy? Yes, please finish the original trilogy. Although this doesn't involve any of the same characters, so don't worry about so don't worry about that. About this potentially spoiling your. Although in the past we have brought up things that would be spoilers from the original trilogy, assuming that everyone here had already seen them. But yeah, at your own risk, I suppose. My lord, pray, what be thy bidding?
Are you acquainted with Miss Green?
Huh? No, never heard of her. Judging by the look on Mr. Shamspeare's face, I think perhaps he genuinely doesn't know her, at least not by name. As the voice of Her Majesty's prosecution here, I adhere to my word. We will see my learned Nipponese friend's farce through to its conclusion. I appreciate that. The prosecution requests a short recess, my lord, in order to subpoena the witness and bring her here.
Yes, Miss Olive Green.
Indeed, my lord. 1 hour should be sufficient.
Very well, I grant the request.
Excellent, I hope.
The defense has made a most extraordinary accusation, I must say. But at the present time, I feel the prosecution's argument remains largely uncontested. Accordingly, I'm afraid the defendant and his culpability remain the sole subject of this court's attention. Thank you, counsels. We reconvene in 1 hour. Court is adjourned.
To be continued. Right now for about 45 more minutes. (23rd February, 11:32 a.m.) The Old Bailey, defendant's antechamber. Joyful, jubilant jumping jacks! Oh, Mr. Natsume, I'm so pleased for you. Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire and non-locum judicial assistant Miss Mikotoba Esquires. What do I think Vampire Man does in his free time? Good question. The occasional assassination, apparently. Also, probably practicing the yeeting of the wine. Now, finally, at long last, there can be proof. Proof that I'm innocent, and proof that my tea is innocent. Cheerleading? What makes you say that, Alana? I'm curious. Ah, good morning, my dear fellows. Ah, Hairlock Sholmes! May you drink my tepid tea and fall forever silent! I thought the tea was innocent. Oh, Mr. Sholmes, you came! How wonderful! Please, save your derision. I know what you're all thinking. Good morning, he says, when it's very nearly time for luncheon. Your scorn is written clearly across your faces. Nobody said or thought anything of the sort. The truth is, I was determined that today would be the day. As sleep seduced me last night, I thought, tomorrow, for once, I shall not oversleep. I'll rise early and be present in court to support my companions. Because the idea of a stoic vampire doing cheerleading amuses you too much for it to not be true. Fair enough, I suppose. Such spirited determination has a beauty all of its own, does it not? Oh, yes. And then I began to muse on the subject. Why do people oversleep, I queried. Why, time after time, do they make the same foolish blunder? And the answer came to me at once. It's so delightfully simple. People oversleep because they sleep. Well, is that not an astute insight into the matter? Oh, yes. Upon which realization I attempted an experiment. I didn't sleep a wink all night. And the results? By first light, I was exhausted and began to be assailed by fits of drowsiness.
Shocking.
And so, the conclusion of last night's experiment is this. A good night's sleep is quite simply essential. Yes, I think most of us probably knew that already. What others presuppose, I prove by experimentation. That, my dear fellow, is the scientific method. Ah yes, and one more thing. Do you remember this? Ah! Yes, of course. It's the poison that Miss Green was about to drink at the hospital yesterday.
Who would have thought that not sleeping would result in you being tired? I know, right, Fire?
Oh, you didn't manage to... It was a laborious task, as the bottle was near empty, but such inconveniences do not hinder shows. I managed to confirm that it contained strychnine. So I was right. Perhaps, though of course such circumstantial evidence doesn't prove Miss Green's guilt. I shall leave the bottle in your care now, but licking the inside of the neck is not recommended.
The bottle of poison has been entered into the court record. Bottle found in the possession of Miss Green with traces of the slow-acting poison strychnine inside. Ah, could I have a word?
Gregson, how good of you to come.
One moment. Gotta examine the bottle.
So this is the poison we've been hearing so much about. Strychnine. There are a few remnants on the bottom of the bottle here, look. You mustn't be tempted to try it. Of course not. As long as we don't lose this trial. No! Even if we lose the trial! No, we mustn't lose the trial in the first place, Mr. Naruhodo! Make your mind up, Susato-san.
Is there anything else noteworthy about this bottle? That is the question. Oh, that's what they were looking at. Okay, doesn't look like there is.
Forget it. Excuse me. Wait a minute. Wait a minute, Inspector. Wait a minute, Inspector. I don't wish to make a nuisance of myself.
From the look on your face, I'd say it's someone else who you think is making a nuisance of himself. It's the bottle that had the Kill Dog 2 juice. Yep. It's a cute color, that's noteworthy. That's fair, that's fair. And yes, it's the bottle that had the Kill Dog 2 juice. Now it is in our possession.
My dear Inspector, please speak freely. Pretend that I'm not here.
Believe me, if I could do that, life would be a whole lot simpler for me.
Do you have the results, Inspector, of the investigation of Mr. Shakespeare's room?
Not yet. Shouldn't be long now, though. Now on me about something else. That dead convict, actually. Revenge Dog 2, that's why we're here.
Oh, you mean the man from this newspaper article we discovered yesterday in Mr. Shakespeare's room? A man by the name of... Ah yes, Selden.
I went through the archives at the yard and dug out the fellow's file. There's something in there that... well, it caught my eye.
Something caught your eye? What, Inspector, what?
I've copied out the relevant parts for you, so you can read it for yourselves.
Thank you!
The capital offender's file has been entered into the court record. The newspaper article about him dying of illness in prison. Was it also strychnine?
These documents...
18 counts of burglary, 6 counts of suspected murder. Died of natural causes whilst in prison. His final moments witnessed only by his cellmate. The estimated 1,000 pounds worth of loot he stole remains unrecovered. £1,000 worth of loot? Oh yeah, and this is... okay.
Suffering with fever since the end of October. Okay. So is that an updated version of this? Yes. Yes, it is. Wait a minute. Strangeways Prison. Okay, announced that. Are there any differences? Death of convicted murderer and burglar seldom by natural causes in the early hours this morning. Okay, that's the same. Suffering with fever since the end of October. Alerted by the shots of his fellow cellmate, medical staff arrived to find him already dead. Nope, it's all the same. Why doesn't this just update this? Weird.
These documents include the details that were in the newspaper cutting we found in Mr. Shakespeare's room.
Oh, okay. The fact that it's the same document is the noteworthy thing. Okay, fair enough.
I'll rearrange everything in the court record so we don't have duplicate information.
Okay, there we go. Yeah.
Why are you giving us a copy of this important file, though?
Well, you're the ones who turned up the clue in the first place, aren't you? I'm just making sure things get handled in the proper fashion.
Oh, Scotland Yard's workings are so wonderful.
Indeed, my dear fellows, and the inspector here is a shining diamond in its crown. A shining diamond in the rough, maybe.
Look, I just don't want to be beholden to a lawyer, that's all. Counsel for the defense and the defendant! Court proceedings are about to resume. Make your way into the courtroom at once!
Well, I shall leave you then. I'll be listening with interest from the public gallery. Not nodding off at all, certainly not.
Thank you, Mr. Sholmes.
I'm rather tired of seeing Mr. Mustache in floods of tears, personally. So, the best of luck to you.
Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire!
Yes, Mr. Natsume?
It's time, isn't it?
Yes, this is it. Miss Olive Green and Mr. William Shakespeare. This is going to be the final battle. I won't really have saved Soseki-san until I've exposed the whole truth of everything that's been going on. But it's all coming to a head now. You can do it, Ryunosuke. You have to!
23rd February, 12:30 p.m. The Old Bailey courtroom. Actually, I just realized something. There's one case earlier on, if you remember, where it ended up being inconclusive. The trial, I mean. So we had to let the guy go. But then it turned out the guy was guilty as sin, and had actually totally done it. And we had just helped a guilty man get off the hook. Was that supposed to show that unless you find out who actually did it, you should still punish the defendant because the defendant is probably still guilty? Is that what they're trying to tell us? Friggin' kangaroo court.
In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session again now. Before the recess, we heard a most startling accusation from the defense. Namely, that the victim of the case we heard here only a few days ago is the true perpetrator of this incident.
A reckless, rash, and prejudiced charge of wrongdoing, in my opinion, my lord. However, the prosecution has tried to extend every courtesy to this amateur newcomer from dubious eastern shores. Thank you for that backhanded consideration.
A rather cold assessment from the Honourable British Prosecutor, I must say. So, Lord Vengeance, is the new witness present and ready to take the stand?
Ready and waiting in the witnesses' antechamber, my lord.
Very well. Bailiff, bring the witnesses in!
Here we go. Witnesses, state your names and occupations for the court, please.
William Shamspeare, my liege. For mine occupation, I can say only that I be a tragic victim to be pitied.
Currently unemployed, in other words.
I'm Olive Green. I'm a fledgling artist. Well, no. Not a fledgling, really. A helpless failure who's too weak-spirited to admit she has no talent, I suppose.
Also currently unemployed, in other words. What a coterie.
Mr. Shamspeare,
My lord, I am thy humble servant.
I'm afraid that you are no longer merely the victim in this affair. The possibility has been raised that you are in fact the assailant intent on taking the life of your fellow lodger. The part you have played in this whole business will be thoroughly scrutinized, I assure you.
I would for naught else, my lord.
And Miss Green,
Yes?
you are aware of the reason you have been summoned to this courtroom today, I presume.
Yes, the officer did explain. The officer did explain. He said I poisoned this ridiculous buffoon. He said I poisoned this ridiculous buffoon.
And, do you accept the charge, Miss Green?
I don't know anything about any poisoning. And I don't know anything about this man. Come, lady, die to live. Verily, I know not thy prickly pea-pigmented personage.
Very well, let us proceed with the matter at hand. That being to ascertain whether or not Miss Green has any involvement in this affair.
It's all very strange indeed. Why would you suspect me? I barely ever go to the East End anyway. It so happens that I passed by that neighborhood 6 days ago, that's all. And on the night that this man was poisoned, I was still in hospital fighting for my life.
Yes, having been unfortunately caught up in the incident on the street outside the Garrideb household. An incident that rendered you unconscious for some 3 days. Yeah, you can see why someone would want to kill Shamspeare. Yeah. No argument there.
I was stuck in the middle of my back by a knife through no fault of my own, and now I'm under suspicion? What other irrelevant things might I be suspected of? It's all very disturbing.
Your energies may be better spent worrying about random knife attacks, I feel, Miss Green.
At this point in time, all that appears to connect you with Mr. Shamspeare's lodgings is the Briar Road incident of 6 days ago. That's why we would like you to testify formally now about exactly what happened.
Oh no! The incident 6 days ago? You mean you want me to relive that awful accident?
Unfortunately, yes. Please tell the court what happened that day. And of course, we will be interested to hear from you about your movements that day too, Mr. We'll be interested to hear from you about your movements that day too, Mr. Shamspeare.
But what happened 6 days ago is nothing to do with me being poisoned.
We trying to establish a motive here?
Let us proceed then. The witnesses will present their formal testimony to the court. On the subject of the incident that took place on Briar Road the evening of the 17th of February.
The evening of 17th February.
It was 6 days ago at about 5 p.m. I was walking along in the snow when I was suddenly stabbed in the back. Coincidentally, it happened to be just outside the house where the men in this case have their lodgings. I was at the tavern on the eve of which thou speakst, for I had bespoke my supper. was the first time I'd been in the area. I had little matter to attend to, that's all.
I'm gonna want to press that. We want to know what little matter.
Anyway, I was admitted straight to hospital, so I know nothing about all of this business.
Yes, a second incident inside a week at what I believe to be aptly described as the haunted lodgings. One can only presume this is a most unfortunate coincidence.
Meanwhile, you say you were not in your room, Mr. Shamspear?
'Twas the following morn when I did awaken that I learned of the dire events. Marry, what a commotion did the officers of the law make on the floor above mine!
When Sosuke-san was arrested on suspicion of attempted murder. As suspected, there is nothing connecting these two witnesses but happenstance. It's true, it does seem as though they're unrelated at first glance. But I'm not so sure. There's something lurking in the shadows here. I feel certain of it. And this is my one and only chance to expose it.
Counsel, you may now cross-examine these two witnesses if you wish.
Yes, my lord. The evening of 17th February. Oh, I have my lives back. Good. 6 days ago, 5 p.m., suddenly stabbed in the back. Coincidentally, happened to be just outside the house with the men in this case at their lodgings. Blah blah blah. At the tavern on the eve of you were eating your one leaf salad dinner or something. What was the matter? What was the little matter to attend to? What little matter, Miss Green? Please elaborate.
It was nothing, really. It's not worth mentioning.
If you remember, you mentioned it to us yesterday at the hospital.
Ah!
It was related to the card you were holding. Miss Green! What was that? She clearly just hid something behind her back. From memory, I believe the card contained a note that read, "I have information regarding the death of Duncan Ross."
But what does that matter? This has nothing to do with... This has nothing to do with Duncan.
Oh, I guess it does. Twitch sad emote.
Excuse me.
Alright, what's he gonna say? Mr. Shamspear, do you have something to share with the court?
To be or not to be? That is the question. Ah, pray forgive me. The great bard's words springeth from within me with never thought.
Don't tell me it's because you're possessed by Shakespeare's spirit, right? Hearing Miss Green's words a moment ago seemed to make you think of something. Something of relevance, perhaps?
Well, nay, sire, 'twas nothing at all.
Presumably you know the name, though, Mr. Duncan Ross, I mean. After all, you were both lodgers in the same house.
I would it were so, but sadly nay. Lodging be a lonely occupation, sire. My lodgings fellows be rarely known to me.
What about Natsume? So you haven't heard of him, even though he passed away in the room just one floor above yours?
Miss Green,
Me, my lord? Have I done something wrong?
the card that was mentioned before, containing the note, do you have it up on your person?
Before, let's interrupt my stuttering to say,
I do, yes, but I don't need it anymore. In fact, I should throw it away, really.
now, with that out of the way, we return to your this. No, I am not speaking English. This. We have the rest of the envelope now.
Before you dispose of it,
Olive green to become a ska band. I don't know what ska bands sound like, so if you give me a moment. Okay, the stuttering I was doing, but amped up and musical. Okay. I'll try it. I'll try it. A note in an envelope that seems to have been ripped open rather roughly. It contains instructions to meet with someone who claims to have information about Duncan Ross. Of course. That's what links Mr. Shamspeare and Miss Green. Oh, wait. Were you able to hear that? Oh my god, you were able to hear that. I literally just Googled, what did I Google? Ska band, and then this 1 hour, this hour-long video came up of it was called The Best of Ska Session. You know what? I'm just gonna leave this over here on this side, probably just down in this corner. And actually, yeah, I will have that there to click to play when she's on. I can totally do that. Yes, let's do it. Okay, anyway, court record. This. The envelope has been ripped open rather carelessly, hasn't it? Hasn't it? Miss Green strikes me as the type to open correspondence more neatly than that. Ah. What is it? The way the envelope is torn. I'm almost sure I've seen that exact same shape somewhere else. Oh! You don't mean... Were you thinking of this piece of evidence, Mr. Naruhodo? Exactly, that's it! Try to match them up. There we go. They go together perfectly. This torn-off end of the envelope clearly belongs with this card. The details of Miss Green's card have been updated in the court record. Good. Envelope fits perfectly with the torn-off piece found at the scene of the crime. The details of the torn-off end of envelope have been updated in the court record. Okay. Is there anything else to glean from this? No. Point is, yeah, this places this envelope, this note, at the scene of the crime. So, of course, that's what links Mr. Shamspeare and Miss Green. It's Duncan Ross!
now continue with your testimony, please, Miss Green.
Okay. Do I hang on.
Hold it!
Okay, let's skip through this. Don't worry. Once we get to some new lines here, I'll do it.
What does that matter? This is nothing to do with Duncan.
I'll try to do it more musically now that I've been reminded of what the beat is here. Duncan Ross. Please, Miss Green, tell us more about that note. Oops. I'm sorry! There's really nothing I can tell you. I can assure, but I can assure you it's unrelated to all of this. Completely unrelated. The truth is, you went out that day because that's what the note told you to do, isn't it? The instructions were for you to come to Briar Road at 5 o'clock that afternoon. I didn't think I... Wait for it. I didn't think I should go at first. But then... I thought it might be a good opportunity to see what the East End looked like.
Very well, if that's your final word on the matter. Continue, please.
Hang on. Okay. I wonder... if I present this to that statement...
Objection.
No, that's not it. My lord, there are clearly grounds for being suspicious of that last statement.
I'm sorry, Counsel, but I fail to see why.
Well, you know, I was just playing devil's advocate.
Yes, you do appear to have something of the devil in you, Mr. Naruhodo.
Says the man merrily dishing out penalties. Alright, let's try pressing this.
Hold it.
A tavern, you say? Which one? 'Twas the Slug and Salad where I did tarry. 'Tis a jewel in the East End. And a little unexpected, I feel. What do you mean, Lord Van Zeeks? The Slug and Salad offers unusually fine dining, for the locality at least. Not an establishment you'd expect to be patronized by a man with not even a crumb of bread in his room. It's true, the menu lists premium crusts of bread and glasses of water and different levels of cloudiness. Different levels of cloudiness? I would have expected grub's grubbery in the local vicinity to be more appropriate for your meats. Watery soup and mushy peas, or rather, soupy water and pea-like mush. All equally appetizing. I just wanted to try some water in a different pub for once. What's wrong with that? How different can water really be? Or perhaps there's a more plausible explanation. A specific reason why he had to go to that particular establishment. Agreed. The fact that on that day of all days he dined at a place he wouldn't normally, it does stand out. So Mr. Shamspeare's own actions on the day of the incident 6 days ago were slightly suspicious. I wonder if we have some evidence that can explain those... right. Does this say to meet at the Slug and Salad? Yeah, the note said... Mr. Shamspeare. Yes, sire. On the day in question, is it not the case that you visited the Slug and Salad, a place you don't normally patronize? For a very particular reason. I don't know what you're talking about. Pray if thou hast some purpose, speakst. Very well. I will present the court with evidence. Evidence that explains why you had to be at the Slug and Salad that day. Namely...
Take that.
I believe this card reveals the answer.
Good lord! Miss Green's card, you mean?
That's right, my lord. It reads, I have information regarding the death of Duncan Ross. Come to the Slug and Salad on Briar Road at 5 p.m. on 17th. Don't tell anybody else about this letter or the meeting. It is a matter of utmost importance. Mr. Shamspeare, your actions on the afternoon of Miss Green's stabbing. I believe it's this card. Yep. Are exactly as described in this note. Personally, I find it hard to believe that's a coincidence. Don't you, Mr. Shamspeare?
Well... Excuse me. Can I say something?
Yes, Miss Green?
That card was delivered to me. It doesn't have anything to do with this odd man, does it?
Well, you'd think so, yes, but it's hard to believe it's merely...
My lord, may I?
May you what, Miss Green?
I'd like to make something very clear about that card.
Very well, then. You may amend your testimony to include details about the peculiar note.
This note was delivered to me at my address. It's nothing to do with the odd man next to me. Next to me here.
False.
Oh, Mr. Narhodo, you pursued Mr. Shamspeare wonderfully there.
It's worked out well, hasn't it? We have a new clue at last. Is there any chance I could get killed by copyright somethings for playing that? Oh, playing that music? Just a thought that occurred to you. It will mean that the YouTube upload is ineligible for monetization. I do not know what it means for Twitch. That said, good point. I will... Let me think. I wonder what I can do about that. If we do... Okay. This is stuff that's picked up by YouTube, so YouTube's gonna... Yeah, okay. What if I did this? Oh, this works. I found something. Okay. All right, now I need to pull off a. All right, now I need to pull off a really insightful objection somewhere.
Well, as you've managed to expose this promising new angle, I wonder if you should perhaps try to develop that.
Ah, yes, of course. And yelling out objections isn't necessarily the best way to do that, I suppose.
Objection.
Here we go. The day before the incident, exactly 1 week ago now, this note was delivered to your address. And upon carrying out the instructions in the note, you found yourself in hospital. This stuff's DMCA free.
Yes, yes, I did. It's terrible, everything that's happened to me.
Yes, it is terrible. If it's all true, that is.
What do you mean?
Miss Green, have a look at this, please. It's the torn off end of an envelope.
Oh, is it?
And it so happens that it fits together perfectly with the envelope of the note you received.
Where did you find that?
In Mr. Shamspeare's room.
In my room?
Mr. Shamspeare, do you perhaps remember this note from somewhere?
Well,
Your actions that afternoon followed the instructions in the note to the letter. Come to the Slug and Salad on Briar Road at 5 p.m. on the 17th. On 17th. And so that's exactly where you went. Let me ask you again, Mr. Shamspeare. You already knew about this note, didn't you? And you, Miss Green.
what did I do?
As this torn off end of the envelope proves, the note was originally in Mr. Shamspeare's room. So how is it that it came to be in your possession?
I don't have the first idea. I'm just a fledgling artist, after all.
Okay, don't do that. Got it. There is only one explanation. You broke into Mr. Shamspeare's room and stole it. Wait, what?
You did what? You did what? Sorry, thou hast what? You broke, thou were in my room? What on earth do you want with me?
Finally, he's breaking character.
It would seem that both witnesses need to testify again.
Miss Green.
Yes?
Whilst you have the court's sympathy, I'm sure for the suffering you have endured in recent events. Anyone found to be giving false testimony in a court of law will be duly punished. Please bear that in mind.
Yes. I know.
Very well then, witnesses. You will give formal testimony again now, on the subject of this curious anomaly regarding the note Miss Green claims to have received.
The anomaly of the note.
I do remember now. 'Twas a week ago, peradventure, that note was delivered unto me. On the day writ therein, I did tarry a long hour at the Slug and Salad, yet nobody came. Thereafter, on the evening I shared the company of the Japanese fellow, I did see the note had vanished.
Wait a minute. Okay, no, never mind. It doesn't match up. Okay.
I did see the note had vanished. I don't know what you mean. You think I snuck into this man's room, do you? Why would I? I can point out the villain here, and as for that torn off piece of the envelope, I don't know anything about it.
You now claim to have received this letter, do you? You now claim to have received this letter, do you, Mr. Shamspear?
Faith, 'tis so, my lord, and I would swear to have set it upon the table in my humble lodgings. Yet, 'tis clear to me now that since I returned from the tavern that night, I have not laid eyes upon it.
Well, that being the case, young lady, it would appear that your testimony was...
A lie! Is that what you think? How unfair of you to think I'm the one lying!
I beg your pardon.
Okay, I'm just a fledgling artist, as I said. Fledgling artists don't lie!
I think what's throwing me off my ability to be on key here is partly the high register of Miss Green's voice, but also partly the fact that I am listening to the ska track and the game's background music at the same time. So I apologize for that.
That note was delivered to me at my address. Besides, we all know who the liar around here is.
If that's true, Miss Green, how do you explain the facts? This part of the envelope was, without question, found in Mr. Shamspear's room.
I don't see why I should explain.
Sorry?
I'm a fledgling artist. My job is here to just say what happened. That's all. It's your job to give the explanations and the proofs. You, the fledgling lawyer.
The fledgling will do his best. Evidently, my learned friend's cross-examination is our only hope of learning the truth.
Well, counsel?
I'm ready, my lord.
Very well then. The defense will now proceed with the cross-examination of the witnesses.
Miss Green clearly did break into Mr. Shamspear's room. There can be no question of that. And that's how she acquired the note. Yes, two facts that are starting to lead me to a possible explanation for all of this. And it's not a pretty one. With that, unfortunately, our time is up. I'm gonna save here. There, give my voice a break. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Be sure to follow, subscribe, you know the drill. Join the Discord. I see the bot has just posted another link to it there now. Elana, I will send you another link because that one does not appear to be working for you. But yes, cliffhanger. And this stream will be back again Thursday evening Eastern time with more of Perry's shenanigans with I think he was doing a Link's Awakening thing, and I'll be back here a week from now with more of this. So don't miss it. I'm gonna check to see if we have anyone to raid right now, just in case. Darn. No one I follow is streaming right now, so it's day for me, Fire. But thank you. I guess I'll just send it off here. Till next time, comrades. Thank you again so much for coming, and see you.